What's up guys, Freddy Fishfinger here, and I'm bringing you Chapter 3 of the VGC Rulebook, Dark Void Smeargles. Now, why Dark Void? Because that is the reason why Smeargle's a huge problem. It hits both of your Pokemon, has an 80% chance to put either one of them to sleep. So, your opponent's got pretty good odds of being able to deal with both of your Pokemon in one turn. The reason why Smeargle is so annoying, its base stats are complete rubbish. 55 HP, 20 attack, 35 defense, 20 special attack, 45 special defense, 75 speed. It doesn't want to run any offensive moves. It wants to run things like your King Shield, your Dark Void, your Tailwind, your Confuse Ray, your Taunt, your Encore. It's the people that abuse the system and go, oh, Dark Void Smeargle, yeah, that's really good. Then they give their Smeargles Focus Sash, and the really smart people also give their Smeargles Moody. And that's the thing that annoys me. I don't recommend that you target Smeargle on the first turn with both your Pokemon for two reasons. One, it can just King Shield, and even if it doesn't, your opponent could have something like a Fake Out Pokemon, meaning that you'll just bring it down to its Sash and it'll still get its Dark Void off. Or alternatively, your opponent will just be able to set up with their other Pokemon. And if it's something like a Mega Kangaskhan, it means that it's a threat. Not that you can't deal with it, but it means that they're going to leave you with a fair amount of damage and have this huge threat sitting on the field. So you've got to have some way of dealing with it. The easiest way to go about doing that is having a Pokemon with a higher speed stat than 139 at level 50 and having it with Taunt. You could also opt for a Prankster Taunter, like that's fine, it'll work the same way because you're in a higher speed bracket, whatever. 139 is max speed for a base 75 speed for Pokemon with base 75 speed, for those of you that don't know. That makes it a little easier for some of you guys to create your Pokemon, whatever. You know, whatever you want. 139 or max base 75. Because Smeargle is going to run max HP or max speed, and even if it doesn't, the fact that you're allowing for it to do so means that you will never lose to it. Unless it's running something ridiculous like a Choice Scarf, which is just brutal, but Prankster Tauntus will still get around your Choice Scarf, Dark Voiding Smeargles. So there's something to still, buff up Prankster Taunt Pokemon. You could opt for a couple more niche things like your multi-hitting moves, Icicle Spear, Jewel Chop, Bone Meringue. They'll all kill it off if you actually get the hits off. Smeargle's pretty frail, so I'd assume you'd kill it. Run your damage calcs on that though, there's no harm in doing that. Passive damage is a way of doing it, however, you're probably going to have to wait for a turn or two, which you can't really afford to do if the Smeargle is Dark Voiding. So you're probably going to have to get the Taunt off and then have the passive damage come through, which is, can you afford to do that? I don't know, up to you guys. Lum and Chesto Berries will get around the Dark Void. The problem is that your item is used up rather quickly if you are relying on them. Your final alternatives are either Magic Bounce or Magic Coat. Magic Bounce being the ability. Problem is, you are left with either running a Xatu or an Espeon. Not sure if Xatu is actually VGC legal. You guys can check that out if you want. Problem is, with those two, they are not the easiest Pokemon to build teams around within VGC, because they're both pretty frail. Like, they're not terrible, but I don't see a lot of them. Magic Coat, probably a bit too nichey, but I mean, if you actually do get to pull it off, it's always nice having your opponent fall asleep rather than you. And that way you can laugh at them and, call them a dick and everything like that. They'll probably just feel the pain of their Pokemon being asleep instead, but that's up to you. So, to beat a Smeargle, you want something faster than it with Taunt. So, things that are faster than it that get Taunt are like Greninja, your Talonflame. Just basically the easiest ways to do this are just to go, type Cerebi or Bulbapedia or whatever site you want, then search for Taunt under the move list of whatever website you're on, and then it should come up with a whole list of Pokemon that learn that move. I personally use Cerebi to search this stuff out, but, use whatever you want. I don't know whether Pokemon Online lets you search through Pokemon learning certain moves. I know that Showdown doesn't, and I wish it did sometimes, but you can't have everything, right? On the whole, Dark Void Smeargle is a really dick thing, but it's not impossible to stop. If you have one Pokemon that can learn Taunt, and you can preserve it for whenever your opponent has the Smeargle around, then the Smeargle is not an issue. Also, the best thing about Taunt is that no Pokemon says, oh, I am definitely running Taunt. Certain Pokemon scream Trick Room. Certain Pokemon say, you know, I'm a Mega Evolution. Nothing screams that they are using Taunt. So the best thing is your opponent may think that you're doing that, and at the very least, if you have one Pokemon on your team that learns Taunt, as long as you don't make them focused around dealing with Smeargle and that they can do more than just that, then it's not a waste of a Pokemon. It means that you've still got an entire team of 6 rather than a team of 5 with one little nichey thing sitting off on the side. Regardless, Taunt is the best way of dealing with Dark Void Smeargle, and if everybody starts running Taunt on their VGC teams, who knows, Dark Void Smeargle may be a thing of the past, which is what we all want to see, right? Anyway, Freddy Fishfinger,